They weren't ghosts. They weren't human. They didn't want to kill us. They wanted to erase us. One memory at a time. It all started with a text from my cousin Josh. He asked if I wanted to spend the weekend at his family's cabin in the woods of Oregon, said it would be just us. No parents, no rules, just firewood, junk food, and a break from life. At the time, I didn't think twice. Josh had always been the adventurous one, and I needed the escape. The cabin was deep in the forest, about a 2-hour drive from any town. I packed light, mostly hoodies, snacks, and my charger. I figured we'd play games, maybe tell ghost stories, and roast marshmallows. I had no idea we were driving straight into something we'd never forget, something we'd never talk about again. We got there around 4 p.m. The sun was still hanging low, casting a warm glow through the trees. The cabin looked just like I remembered it from when we were kids, a little run down but cozy. And got settled in. Josh was excited, full of energy, already setting up speakers and stacking firewood. But something felt ... off. The woods were too quiet. No birds, no rustling, just this weird, thick silence. I brushed it off as city boy paranoia, but even Josh, halfway through unpacking, paused and muttered, "Kinda dead out here today, huh?" That night, we sat around a small fire behind the cabin, cracking open sodas and sharing stories. Nothing scary, just dumb high school stuff. Around midnight, we started hearing something in the distance. Not a bear, not footsteps. It sounded like breathing, deep, slow breathing. We both froze, listening. Then it stopped, like someone exhaled right behind us and vanished. Josh laughed it off, but his eyes didn't match his voice. We put out the fire and went inside, locking the doors. That night, I had the strangest dream. Or maybe it wasn't a dream. I saw someone outside. The window. No face. Just smooth skin where features should be. The next morning, we went for a hike. Josh wanted to show me this new trail he found. Said it wasn't on any map, carved overnight. The deeper we went, the more wrong it felt. The trees didn't move in the wind. The air got colder. Then we saw a figure way up ahead, standing completely still, not moving, not reacting. We called out, "Nothing." It turned, slowly, and that's when we saw its face. Or rather, what wasn't there. We ran back to the cabin. Full sprint. Neither of us talked about it at first. We just acted like we were tired or hungry. But later that night, Josh said it out loud. "Did you see its face?" I nodded. We agreed not to go back on that trail. But something didn't want to be ignored. At around 2 a.m., we heard footsteps on the porch, then scratching at the window, not like nails, like someone dragging skin across the glass. When we finally looked, nothing but the footprints. They were there, bare, human, and facing inward. I set up my phone by the window before we went to sleep, hoping to catch whatever it was. In the morning, the phone was gone. We searched everywhere. Found it in the woods, resting perfectly upright. On a tree stump, still recording. I played it back. Static for most of it. But then, right around 3:14 a.m., a whisper, one word, "Stay." The voice was hoarse, barely audible, but not ours. Something was watching us. Josh remembered something after we watched the footage, but now it didn't feel like junk. We pulled down the ladder and climbed up. Dust filled the air. Mice scattered. In the far corner, buried under a tarp, was the box. Inside was an old leather-bound journal. The pages were yellowed, the handwriting shaky, people describing faceless figures in the woods, strange voices, disappearances. And one sentence kept repeating across several pages. They come when the forest falls silent. No bugs, no wind, no sound, not even the creak of the trees. The forest went still, like it was holding its breath. We froze. Behind the cabin, we rushed to the back window and saw 5 figures, standing shoulder to shoulder, tall, motionless, no faces, just smooth, pale heads reflecting the moonlight. They weren't walking, they were. "Waiting, watching," Josh called. His grandmother that night, she'd grown up near these woods. "They aren't spirits, they're not people. They're watchers. Your name, gone." Josh tried to laugh, but she didn't. "Did you hear them yet?" she asked. We told her about the voice on the recording. Her reply chilled us. "If they've spoken to you, get out while you still remember who you are." The next morning we packed everything in a rush. No breakfast, No talking, just silent panic. We got in the car, turned the key, nothing. Battery was dead. We hadn't even used it. Checked the hood, everything looked fine. Josh swore he'd filled up the tank yesterday, but the gauge read empty. We tried calling for help, no signal, not even a single bar. Josh climbed on the roof, still nothing. The forest around us felt tighter, like the trees had moved. Closer overnight, there was no path, no signal, and no sound. Just eyes, or where eyes should have been. That night, we tried not to sleep. We lit every candle we found, kept the fireplace going, played music on a speaker just to break the silence. Around 3 a.m., we heard the floorboards creak upstairs. Slow, heavy steps. We went up. The attic hatch was open, but we'd closed it. Inside the box with the journal was now empty. In its place, a mirror. An old, cracked mirror. And in the reflection, the hallway behind us. Except we weren't in it, but something else was. Stared into the mirror, heart racing. It wasn't just cracked, it was warped, like something had twisted the glass. Behind us in the reflection stood a tall, faceless figure. Right there, inches away. I turned around, nothing. But in the mirror, it was still there. Josh screamed, grabbing my arm. He pointed at my reflection. My face, it was feeding. The features were blurring, melting into smooth skin. I backed away, blinked, looked again. It was normal now, but I swear to you, in that moment, my face was gone. And I don't think it was just a trick of the light. We decided to leave on foot. Cars didn't matter anymore, neither did phones. We just wanted out. The plan was to follow the old logging road that led out of the woods. Josh had used it before, packed water, food, the bat, and the journal. But as we walked, something was wrong. The trail curved the wrong way. We passed a moss-covered log 3 times. By mistake, by design. Hours in, we found someone, a man sitting against a tree. Looked like he'd been there for days. We ran over, asked if he was okay. He didn't speak, just looked up, or tried to. His face was gone, completely smooth, like wax melted over his head. He reached for me, I stepped back. That's when we noticed he was holding something. My phone, still recording, still playing, the whisper on loop. Stay, stay, stay. We left him, I don't know if that was right. Back at the cabin, because yes, somehow we ended up back there, Josh started acting strange. He kept forgetting words. Simple ones. Called a chair, the sitting thing. Looked at me and said, Your butt couldn't say my name? Then, he asked something that cracked me. What's my name again? I told him. He repeated it once, then just stared. His eyes were empty, like something inside him had stepped out. The journal had warned us. First your path disappears, then your face, then your name. I started writing my name on my arm, over and over again, with a marker, just in case. Because I was starting to forget things too. Small stuff at first, the name of my middle school, what day it was, the name of the street I grew up on. Then it got worse. I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize my own face for a second. It looked like me, but also didn't. Josh barely spoke anymore. He would sit by the window and just watch. And every now and then, I'd catch him mumbling a phrase under his breath. I didn't see them, they saw me. We turned on the TV, just to feel normal. Just noise, anything. Every channel was static, except one. A black screen with a single word, remember, that was it. It stayed like that for hours. We unplugged it. The screen stayed on. We smashed it. Nothing happened. Later that night, a humming sound came from inside the walls. A low, constant vibration, like something was moving through the wood. I followed the sound. It led to the attic. On the floor was a photo of me and Josh from years ago, but our faces were scratched out. Josh stood up suddenly, said we had to go. It's not the only cabin, he said. I thought he was losing it, but he led me into the woods, no flashlight, and deep in the trees there was another cabin, just like ours, same color, same porch, same crack in the window, but no lights, no sound. We stepped inside, dust everywhere, cobwebs, empty picture frames. It was abandoned. And on the floor, lying perfectly centered, was another journal. Not the same one. This one was newer. First page, my name, Josh's name, the date we arrived, and the words we never left. We sat on the floor of the second cabin, flipping through the journal. Each page looked freshly written, the ink still wet. But it wasn't just our names. There were others. Dozens names crossed out, some circled. Next to ours was a single sentence. Faces lost, not yet taken. In the middle of the book, a page was torn out, but the imprint was still faint, like the pen had been pressed hard. I took a pencil and shaded the page. One word slowly appeared. Run. We dropped the book and turned. Someone was standing in the doorway, tall, still faceless. We ran. No plan, no direction, just pure instinct. Branches slashed at our arms, my legs burned. The air got heavier, thicker with every step. Then suddenly, we burst out into a clearing. There it was, the cabin. Our cabin. Again, the same broken chair on the porch, same chopped wood stack. It didn't make sense. We looked behind us. Nothing. Not even the second cabin, like it had never been there. Josh fell to his knees and screamed. I couldn't move. Because on the front door was a message, freshly carved into the wood. You never left. We stepped inside, defeated. Everything was exactly where we left it. Food, bags, the fire still crackling. Like we'd just stepped out for air. Josh collapsed on the couch, holding his head. He kept saying he couldn't feel his face. I ran to the bathroom, turned on the light, and looked in the mirror. My face was fading again. Nose, mouth, eyes all blurring into nothing. I blinked, and for a split second, I saw the truth. Dozens of people in the mirror, all staring, all faceless, all trapped. One of them raised its hand and waved. When I came out of the bathroom, Josh was gone. Not like walked out the door gone. I mean gone. No sound, no trace. The couch cushions hadn't even shifted. Like he had never been there to begin with. I called his name over and over. No answer, just silence. I checked every room, then went outside. The forest was darker than it should have been, like the trees had swallowed the moon. Then I saw it. 5 figures, standing where the fire pit used to be. One of them, wearing Josh's hoodie, but he had no face. I stumbled backward, shaking, trying to hold on to anything real. I said my name out loud again and again, trying to keep it in my head. But it started to sound wrong, like it didn't belong to me. My voice changed, my memories blurred. I couldn't remember where I worked, who my parents were, what I liked, what I feared. Only the forest and them, watching, always watching. I collapsed on the floor of the cabin, gripping my arm. The marker was smudged, my name half gone. I screamed, but no sound came out, not anymore. This is the last thing I remember. Writing in the journal, trying to leave something behind, something for you if you found this. Don't come looking. For me, don't come to these woods. They don't just take your body, they take you, your name, your face, your story. You become another silent watcher in the trees. And the worst part, you don't even realize it's happened. Because when the forest finally takes you, there's no pain, no violence, just silence, and then ... nothing.